I don't understand why this day and age we're always changing things the perfect way they are. It doesn't make any sense. I used to play football my entire life since I was a kid. I loved it all the way throughout high school. And I would have continued to do it if I could have. There was some jumps that I wasn't able to make, but I would have kept doing it if I could. I love the sport today. I watch it every single Sunday. As a kid growing up, I used to watch it every Sunday with my parents. That's all we do every single Sunday, including Thursday and Monday. I love the sport so much. But they're changing the kickoff rules, and I think it should be changed back to the original form of what it was, because they changed it to keep safety a priority, to keep the excitement of a possibility of a return, as always, and keep the authenticity of the old sport. That's why I think that it should be changed. Everyone's worried about safety nowadays. That's the biggest thing. Everyone cares about physical safety with the head, whether it be your limbs, your torso, whatever it is, the muscles, the bones. Everyone cares about the safety. And people in football are getting injured because they're always tackling with their heads. Now, in this new change of rules, they're moving everyone closer, about 5 yards from each other. That way, before they were running all the way down the field and smacking into each other. And now they're moving them closer. But that isn't going to affect much of the type of collision if you're still tackling with your head. Because if you weren't hitting someone with your head, then going that speed wouldn't make a difference. It might affect your shoulders more or other bodily parts, but it's not the main part of the head, which is what the NFL is really starting to hone in on, is the head injuries, because those are the ones in the end that are doing the most damage to everyone. Now, I think for the kickoff to get better, it should be a better form of tackling with your shoulder instead of the head. In 2017, they did heads-up tackling, even when I was still a kid and in high school. And that was a very good movement where you were just focused head up and tackling with your shoulder. That way you didn't get hit, right? I thought that was a terrific thing. You saw a bunch of the statistic goes down of people getting injured with their neck, with their head, everything. It was a great movement, and there wasn't any problems. But really, over the past 3 to 4 years, we've gone away from that, and people started tackling with their heads because it's a lot easier to tackle with the crown of your helmet. It makes it a lot easier. You can throw it in. It's, like I said, in my opinion, I think it's because it's a lot easier for people to tackle. Instead of doing it like this, you can move a lot more with your head down. People are just getting lazy. Safety isn't the only reason that the rule was changed. They thought they were doing some incentive to help with the statistics, but that wasn't the case. The possibility of return is one of the biggest things because it's exciting, whether it be a 3% chance that they're going to take it back. It's that excitement that you sit on the edge of your feet every time a kickoff happens. And the statistic was always staying about the same percentage, if not going up a little bit each year, here and there, dropping just, a mere maybe 0.1, 0.2% on how many times that the ball was getting returned. Well, this dropped in the year 2023. 2023 is when it dropped. And it dropped about 1%. And they said, wow, this is way too much in a drop. We're changing everything. Well, that happened in previous years where it had dropped, and this was 1 year out of all those years that it dropped significantly. And they felt after 1 year of that they wanted to change all these rules, change this one major rule of how the game was built on, all over 1 year of the statistics going down, instead of looking for another solution for it. Excuse me. So they changed one of the main rules of the kickoff, and they changed the entire formation and how it was kicked. Because before, when they had the rules and it went down in 2023, the ball was getting kicked in the end zone a lot, so people didn't have the opportunity to return it. And then there was the decision of people catching in the end zone and not taking it out. But the main reason was the kickers were kicking it so far back that the returners couldn't return it or chose not to because it was so far back in the end zone. Now the kickers are getting a lot stronger with their legs than they were back in the day. So the yardage is a lot easier to kick into the end zone than people back in the day were just barely making it to the end zone, if not even there. So I think that to balance this out, they should move the kickers back. That way, the kickers usually stay back within the kickoff and they're not running down the field because they're a safety man. Whenever the ball is coming back, they're a safety man. And I think that since they really don't do anything, they should back the kicker up that way that they do not kick it all the way into the end zone, and then you can still keep the old formation. That way, the players are allowed to return the ball and have a chance. But the most important rule of why we should change this back to where where it was because it just keeps the authenticity of the game. Excuse me. In today's day and age, we're trying to make everything better, and we're trying to improve on it. It's never any authentic new ideas like it was back in the day when everything was getting created. We're just trying to improve everything, but if something's perfect, why would you ever want to change how it is? There's no making it better. If you try to make it better, it just makes it worse. You don't need to change the rules of all these sports. You see it in baseball and soccer, hockey, all these sports. Millions of people loved it, and they loved it for the way it was because it's been around forever, and the rules make it the way it is. If you change the rules, then it's changing the game. It's changing the game that you love. It changes football. It's not the same sport that it once was. You can't even call it football anymore if you change the rules because it's a completely different game. So I really think if they start changing one rule and some people like it, then they're going to keep changing more, and it's not going to be the game that we love. And we're never going to be, keeping the same sports for all these years. All just because someone wants to be inventive. Instead of creating something new, they just want to improve. But I really feel like this is plenty of reasons to be able to change the kickoff rule back to where it was, because this is just the start of a domino effect of changing other rules and making the game completely different from what it's supposed to be. So I think that this covers that safety can still be the number one priority. It still keeps the excitement of possibility of a return, and it keeps the authenticity of the old school sport, which is the most important. And everyone believes that because they follow the recommendation of these scientists, that they would always be correct, that that's the right thing to do. But if you remember back in the day, those same people said that smoking was good for you and helped your health, and that was way wrong. So just think about that for a second. Thank you.